The year is 2025, and American border security is presently at the most controversial it has been in decades. It is largely agreed by a significant portion of America that the Democratic approach to border security has failed. A different, but also significant portion of the USA has misgivings, with their taxpayer dollars going to an ugly, inefficient construct that blows over in the wind and doesn't actually keep illegal immigration from occurring. While there are many options available, all parties presently involved seem to find this entire crisis as something to fight over, rather than something to make solutions for. Alongside all of this internal strife, the entire affair has inspired conflict between the nation and our closest allies. Trade is being stifled, not only between us and the country through which illegal immigration flows, but also with other partners, near and dear to our way of life. Throughout the world, other nations are lambasting us, while our current president cozies up with dictators and sends our citizens off to work camps alongside illegal immigrants, calling them animals and monsters and other such dehumanizing terms. When they do get into our nation, illegal immigrants find their way all the way to New York, to Washington, to Michigan, rather than being caught and processed, much farther south, as they might in a system that worked better. And so, many believe that they come up to take our jobs, to saturate the job markets with illegal labor, thereby keeping wages down and making things less competitive for the American citizen. In the meantime, legal immigration is more difficult and takes longer than ever to achieve in a time when refugees and people seeking a new start in this land of opportunity arrive in greater numbers than ever before. And even if the process works for these aspiring American residents, they may not have the opportunity, the resources, education, or money to carry out the complex tasks that legally crossing our border will require of them. And we will not help. The present system, under the current administration and all before, seems ill-equipped to even consider new solutions to this crisis. While some regard them as criminals and rapists and thieves, and others see policing the borders as a tiresome but necessary chore, the Bull Moose Party sees it as an opportunity. Not only for our own economy, but for our position on the entirety of the world stage. It is time to see the rise in immigration at the border not as a crisis, but as an opportunity to stabilize our nation's economy and bring our country to the forefront and the upfront of international production. It is time we cease to see our closest neighbors to the south as rivals and accept them as peers and partners in this struggle with whom we must cooperate and collaborate to greatly expand our possibilities in solving these mutual dilemmas. It is time that our fair republic rose above its prejudice and sought out practical solutions to perennial problems that our culture has struggled with since its establishment. Today, the Bull Moose Party presents you with one such solution. Today, the progressive cause has produced an idea that should please both sides of the political spectrum, whilst also holding them to their word. Our idea is practical, possible, attainable, sustainable, and affordable. In fact, after the initial cost, it is the plan of the Bull Moose Party that this policy of comprehensive border security and commerce will not only be self-sustaining, but a profitable venture entirely run by the US government, for the people, by the people, and eventually to the people. Moreover, it is a plan that eagerly encourages our southern neighbors to take part and join in an effort to make the borders safer for both of us, to make trade easy and crime hard, to form points of commerce and security, rather than useless ugly walls that cost you money and don't even work. This will be a monumental effort, and it is not required that we reach out to others to achieve our goals, but if this mission is shared by both nations, we will be able to push harder, finish sooner, and collect more benefits together than we might have ever managed alone. And before you cast aspersions, naysaying and crying out that there is no way a third party like the new Bull Moose could come up with some newfangled solution for our nation's most serious problems, rest assured, we endeavor only to do what is already being done, to use what is already available, to carry out a bipartisan initiative that will bring people to the table from all sides of the aisle and utilize the strengths of everyone involved so that we can move past this not as two squabbling parties like children playing and fighting over toys on the playground, but as Americans, unified and ready to stand against whatever the future holds. And unlike those who already have access to these resources that we call for, in office right now, unelected officials and corrupt politicians without any perspective for the struggles of the common folk, we will get things done. We will put in effort you haven't seen since the Second World War, and we will do it better than anyone else does or ever has cared to. Because this is the United States of America. And as Americans, we are not afraid of putting in an effort. We are not afraid to work to make our system function, and we're certainly not afraid to legally incorporate some hard-working folk looking for new opportunities in our fair republic. As anyone rightly should, for after all, this is the greatest country in the world, the land of opportunity, the place where people go to experience freedom, sometimes for the first time in their lives. And let us ask you this. Is the problem truly illegal immigration? We have talked to many Republicans, many conservatives from other nations who have similar sympathies. We have not met a single one that will admit to this being some sort of racial problem. Let us simply trust our fellow Americans, then, on this claim. We're not here to cast aspersions, just as we desire to have none cast upon our own party. They claim that the problem is that illegal immigration is a crime. We cannot, rightly and justly, allow criminals into our nation without consequence. If, indeed, there are smugglers and narcos working their way deep into our nation, committing crimes, trafficking, and introducing drugs to our youths, that is very much a problem, and we should spare no expense to eradicate such a status quo at the soonest possible opportunity. Many claims have come to us that a primary concern is also that these are not Americans. They are coming into our nation and watering down our culture, not integrating into our system, not paying taxes, not becoming American. And we suppose, to a degree, this is also reasonable to an extent. If one expects to come to America and stay here to become a resident and a citizen, then yes, we are sure they should indeed integrate into our culture. They should learn how to speak our language, they should obey our laws, pay their taxes, know what side of the road to drive on and where to smoke. But that falls into the purview of education. We cannot simply expect a foreign newcomer escaping less economically advantageous circumstances to immediately know and understand our laws and customs, the inner workings of our society, or even, in some cases, the casual workings of our everyday lives. We live considerably better lives than some of these people. Indeed, these aspiring Americans may come from a nation where running water is a luxury, where sanitation is not a guarantee, and where food quality standards are considerably less stringent than our own. They may have only gotten the opportunity to flee their nation in search of aid and refuge through desperate gambles involving illegal and dangerous means at the hands of malicious actors who would hold their very lives in contempt if forced to testimony. Now, at our border, we have the opportunity, and some say the responsibility, as the greatest nation on the planet, to show them that our system is better, that our country has what they need and can show them a better way of life. The moment they get here, at our border, it is up to us to show them how great our land is. It is up to us to prepare them for the greatest nation on the planet to which they have arrived, to become Americans. And so we present to you A comprehensive border plan. Already, the United States of America has been housing illegal immigrants awaiting processing in hotels around the United States of America. Such facilities are working just fine right now and may be used when immigration numbers are low to provide their standard services to tourists and travelers. Large suites can provide housing for up to 5 or 6 people, such as a standard-sized family, and such facilities are not difficult to build in locations where alternatives are unavailable, especially considering standardized construction practices. Parking for such buildings are often underground, lowering the urban impact on the surrounding land and allowing for more utilitarian uses of any accompanying acreage. Furthermore, they are common, and hotels already on the border can be the first we refurbish into places where excited would-be American residents can get their first taste of freedom. Currently, the American defense company Anduril already processes highly efficient and self-sustaining autonomous surveillance towers along the border. With an affordable price tag and a capable company behind it who have perfected the technology, we can station one of these every couple miles at either side of the administrative complex that houses the hotel building. Already, this system has shown repeated success and, with more of them in place, we could completely police the border and ensure that no narcos, nor even any unofficial or unapproved individual, ever step on American soil without Uncle Sam knowing the time, location, and whatever they had for breakfast. Anduril's extended range Sentry Tower has an effective monitoring radius of 5 miles, more than we need for this policy. The average US DMV tends to be a squat, concrete building, half dedicated to paperwork and bureaucratic processing, and the other half tends to be rooms that can be rented out for meetings, holding political talks, or even occasionally holding classes for matters like driving lessons, money management, or the learning of the English language. That in mind, what we need at every one of these border compounds is a DMV, a strong, standardized administrative center that can process perhaps hundreds of immigrants a day, full of staff that do paperwork and processing of this nature for a living, half of which can be utilized for lessons that teach would-be Americans how to integrate properly into our culture. And of course, we can't help but face the reality that most of these immigrants would be coming into our nation to take up positions as farm help, mechanical assistants, day labor, and physical tradesmen. This is not, of course, the case for all such individuals, but it will be the case for many of them, perhaps even most of them. Merely keeping such immigrants idle at these locations would be a waste not only of resources, but also of their potential and the purpose for which they have come to our country. If they have come for work and opportunity, let us offer it to them right there at the border. Let us give them the opportunity to show that they will indeed be productive American citizens if offered a place in our nation. If they want to be in America, like all Americans, they must work, and they must work hard. So around each of these compounds, the Bull Moose Party proposes 1 square mile of agrarian land upon which to grow food crops, raise animals, and produce artisan goods to be preserved and circulated either back into the American economy or stored in the already bountiful network of cheese caves that the current president so wisely reopened in his first presidential term. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump. Though this may seem like a Herculean undertaking, rest assured that we have run the numbers and determined that, in the long run, this project will be self-sustaining, able to pay itself off in 15 to 20 years once established, and designed to maintain itself indefinitely, keeping our borders safe and secure, whilst never costing the American citizen a single penny in taxes ever again. If successful, not only will this project be sustainable, but profitable. For the first time in a long time, the government will be actively funding a program that will generate profit and take part in fighting our national deficit while also lowering our food prices for every American resident. And the border, once refurbished for this project, would become a flourishing strip of land along the length of our two nations that would provide untold bounty. From vanilla to strawberries, sugarcane to saffron, the territory just north of the Mexican border is ripe for the production of countless cash crops that these aspiring citizens will grow and cultivate for our nation to show that they are willing and able to be responsible Americans. Tens of billions of dollars could flow from this project alone every single year, providing millions of tons of fresh produce to be added to our economy on a regular basis, bolstered by a comprehensive network of border compounds which will receive and process immigrants for a new start. That which is not immediately circulated into our markets will be frozen and put into the cheese caves to keep our food prices low and produce a storage economy that will ensure that no American ever need go hungry ever again. This project will turn a desolate land needing expensive fortification and extensive personal surveillance into a profitable and fertile one, capable of establishing America's position as one of the largest producers of fresh fruit and vegetables in the world, unseating other nations like China from their previously comfortable positions and making America competitive on the international scene once again. And this isn't some fanciful gardening program we're talking about. For a fairly small price, something like a third of the annual cost of our present border security policy, we could be literally terraforming these lands, making deserts into verdant fields and forests that provide food for all. This is the border we could be building. Not a dead, ugly, expensive wall manned by armed thugs who view anyone crossing the border as an enemy, but a productive, profitable, workable land with green fields, a rich melting pot culture, and one of these places every 2 miles, within visual range of each other, providing a sanctuary from which border security could always be able to mobilize and carry out their activities in an efficient and organized manner. If you're here to be an American and don't know how to get around, you get 6 months to learn the language, learn the culture, learn to pay taxes, get some skills on the farm or in the workshops, get the resources you need to become an American. When you're done, you have some experience, a good reference, maybe a little savings, and are part of a system that will help you get on your feet as an American. Or at least someone actively seeking American citizenship and doing their part to get it, paying back the investment we spent on them to build them up into a functioning part of our flourishing economy. If you're just here to work for a while, a specialist that already knows the language and the system, circular flow is good. We'll get you processed real fast, and then you can go be the doctor or the mechanic or whatever you've come to be, and we'll keep proper track of you, make sure you don't get out of line. But if you are up to no good, well, there's a compound every 2 miles on the border here. An ICE agent on top of the hotel can see you sneak off into the night and be the criminal that we've been warned you might be. If you try to sneak in through the border in the dead of night, Andorill's top-quality surveillance towers will catch you, and an SUV will arrive to pick you up quite quickly. There will be no more illegal immigration into this nation from the southern border, because you cannot sneak your way through line of sight. Those that come into our nation will be found at the border, taken in for processing, and held accountable for any criminal activity they might be bringing into our fair republic. Smugglers will be caught, their contraband seized and used as evidence against them in a court of law, where they will be held to the fullest extent. Human traffickers will be found out, their victims freed, and their punishments so severe that they will regret ever having taken up such malicious professions. And those who would bring threat to our nation, actual dangers to our borders, violence and aggression, these compounds, while being inviting from the outside, will hold untold security options to keep our fair republic safe and to maintain the fastest response times to threats out of any nation in the world. So if this does not please you, if this is not good enough for the American voters, for the American people, for our representatives, please let the world know that you are either a racist or you are merely uninterested in solutions. We will take either. We are merciful. This is not a difficult idea. $100 billion initial investment and roughly $10 billion every year would create over 100,000 new jobs, found numerous new communities, encourage cooperation and companionship between nations, produce untold profit that could stabilize our nation's economy, and lower our food prices. Oh, right, and of course, secure our borders! And this need not be in competition with the current administration. No. If Trump's stay in Mexico policy goes through, it is entirely within the boundaries of this policy that we might lease land in Mexico for this. Our southern neighbor could even assist with the staffing of these facilities, able to help by providing language services and increasing security to police the border. These are not difficult concepts to grasp, and they're not difficult to take care of, to manage, to carry out. The powers that be have played at solving the border crisis for decades. It hasn't borne results. So let's start working at it. Let's do something like this. Let's stand strong and let's stand together. Vote progressive. Vote Bull Moose.